The heart directly pumps out the blood and all the organs get bathed in it. In the collar region, which is called as stomacord, and this stomacord looks almost similar to the notochord itself, but it was not a notochord. Proboscis is present at the anterior part of the head of melanoglossus or hemichordates. It is not present in the collar region. Hello everyone, a warm welcome to this session on First PUC Biology. I am Dr. Divya, Biology Faculty, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, Temple of Excellence, Mysore. So in this session, let us learn about phylum Hemichordata under chapter 4 of Animal Kingdom. So let's learn the characteristics of Hemichordata and then move into understanding some of the MCQs that can be framed under this particular topic. So talking about hemichordata. So hemichordata has a peculiarity because earlier hemichordata was placed under chordates itself. And why was it done so? It was because the hemichordates, they had a notochord-like structure in the collar region, and that is why they thought because it had a notochord-like structure, they had put it under the phylum, that is chordata. But later on, they removed it from phylum Chordata and put it under a separate phylum under non-chordates as Hemichordata because they found out that chordate or notochord-like structure that was there was not actually a notochord, but it looked like a notochord and it was called as a stomochord. So, it was not a notochord. So, therefore, because it has a rudimentary structure in the collar region, which is called as stomacord, and this stomacord looks almost similar to the notochord itself, but it was not a notochord. So therefore, they removed it from chordates and put it under non-chordates as phylum Hemichordata. And these are marine animals and they look like worm. So you can see how they look. All these animals, they look exactly like a worm, right? So therefore, they are worm-like animals, but they live in the oceans and the seas. And they have organ system level of organization and their cell arrangement is in 3 embryonic layers wherein they have an outer ectoderm, a middle mesoderm and an inner endoderm. Therefore, they have triploblastic cell arrangement. And do they have a body cavity? Yes, they have a body cavity. Therefore, they are coelomates. Next, talking about their structure, they are bilaterally symmetrical, wherein if I draw a line exactly from the top to the center like this, one half of it looks exactly similar to this half looks exactly similar to the other. It is a mirror image. So, therefore, it is bilateral symmetrical and they are cylindrical in structure. They are tube-like or cylindrical in structure. And talking about their parts, they have a proboscis which is present at the anterior end of the head, and this proboscis is like a snout. It acts like a snout wherein the proboscis, so using this proboscis, the melanoglossus can dig into the sand and bury itself, and also if it has to feed on other organisms which are burying in the ocean bed and all that, it can dig and feed onto it. So that is the function of the proboscis. So it has an anterior proboscis and it has a collar and it has a trunk, and in the trunk the excretory organs and all that are present in the trunk region. They have a circulatory system. It is of open type wherein the blood is not circulated to specific organs through veins, veinlets, capillaries and all that, but the heart directly pumps out the blood and all the organs get bathed in it. And they respire, that is respiration, is through gills because they are marine organisms living in oceans and seas. They have gills for respiration, and excretory organ is again something called as proboscis gland. So there is a difference between proboscis and proboscis gland. Proboscis gland is the excretory organ and it is present in the trunk region, and they have a anus also at the tip for the elimination of the excretory waste. And proboscis is a snout-like structure that is present at the anterior region of the melanoglossus or hemichordata, and that helps in feeding as well as burying in the ground or in the ocean bed. Next, talking about the reproduction. Here they are dioecious. Dioecious meaning the sexes are separate. The sexes are separate, wherein male organism is separate and the female organism is separate. And the fertilization is external, wherein the sperm meets with the egg outside the body of the organism, or it fertilizes the egg outside the body of the organism. So, therefore, fertilization is external and the development is indirect. So, indirect wherein they have a larval stage. So, this is the larva of Melanoglossus. So, these organisms, first the adult lays the egg hatches, they develop into larva, and then the larvae actually develops into an adult. So, that is why their development is indirect. They have in between a larval stage. Next, talking about some of the examples under hemichordata. So, there is Melanoglossus. So, this is Melanoglossus. They look like worm. So, that is why they are worm like Melanoglossus, and this is Saccoglossus. And if you can see, they have a proboscis, right? This is the proboscis, that is the anterior part, proboscis. And if you can see, they have this collar cells which has the stomochord. Can you see the center exactly? Here the stomochord is present, which is nothing but a notochord like structure that they have, stomochord, and they have this trunk. So, here you can see the trunk is very well visible. They have the trunk, this portion. So, this is about the two examples, that is Melanoglossus and Saccoglossus. They are the worm-like organisms that come under hemichordata. Now, we know about the hemichordates. So, let's learn some of the MCQs under this particular topic. So, the rudimentary structure in the collar region of hemichordates is called, they have a rudimentary structure in the collar region. Now, what is that rudimentary structure called? Is it proboscis? No, because proboscis is present at the anterior part of the head of Melanoglossus or hemichordates. It is not present in the collar region. Is it radula? No, radula is the rasping organ that is present in mollusks, that is octopus, oysters and all that. So, this is not the right answer. This is also not the right answer. Is it nephridia? No, nephridia is the excretory unit that is present in annelids, that is leeches and earthworms and all that. So, the right answer here is stomochord, because stomochord is the notochord like structure, which is a rudimentary structure present in the hemichordates or in Melanoglossus. So, instead they can of hemichordates, they can ask here giving an example, Melanoglossus. So, like this they can change the question and ask, okay, you have to be capable of answering. Next, the Melanoglossus exhibits dash level of organization, or the question can be framed as hemichordates exhibit dash level of organization. So, is it cellular, tissue, organ or organ system? So, the right answer here is organ system level of organization. The muscular organ used by hemichordates to collect and transport food is called. So, is it collar, is it proboscis, is it trunk, or is it tail? So, is it collar, is it proboscis, trunk or tail? Collar, no. Collar region has nothing to do with the collection of food. It is in the collar region that the stomochord is present and the collar cells are present. Proboscis, proboscis is the right answer. Is it the trunk? No. Trunk is not the region for collection of food, but trunk have excretory organs where excretion takes place. Is it tail? No. The right answer here is proboscis. So, proboscis is present at the anterior part of the Melanoglossus mouth, wherein it helps the organism to bury in the sand, feed whatever food it gets, and also helps in transporting of food. So, therefore, the answer is proboscis. Next, stomochord is present in dash of Melanoglossus. Is it in proboscis? No, that's not the right answer. Is it in collar? Yes, it is in the collar region that they have the stomochord that is present. So, stomochord is present in the collar region, or they can ask instead of stomochord, they can ask like notochord like structure. Notochord, N-O-T-O-C-H-O-R-D. Notochord like structure. So, the question can be asked this way as well. So, here also the answer is same, that is collar region. Next, excretory organ in hemichordates is it collar, proboscis gland, trunk or proboscis? So now it's not collar, it's not the trunk. Now we get a confusion between proboscis and proboscis gland. It's not proboscis because proboscis is the anterior part of melanoglossus which helps in taking in food and transport of food and all that. It is the proboscis gland that is present in the trunk region that actually helps the melanoglossus in the process of excretion or excretory process. And it is the excretory organ that is present in melanoglossus. Next. Saccoglossus is an example for, or the question can be asked, melanoglossus is an example for. So, saccoglossus is an example for echinodermata. No, echinodermata, they are the organisms which have spine on their body. Hemichordates or saccoglossus do not have spines on their body. Is it chordata? No, because saccoglossus comes under hemichordata and hemichordatas come under non-chordates. They are not under chordates. So, that is also not the right answer. Is it hemichordata? Yes, hemichordata is the right answer. Is it ctenophora? No, it's not ctenophora because ctenophora are those organisms which are also marine but they are comb jellies. They are not worm-like. They are like jelly-like organisms. They are also called as comb jellies or sea walnuts. So, that is different. So, this is also not the right answer. The right answer is C, hemichordate. So, saccoglossus or melanoglossus is an example for hemichordate. Next, what is not a characteristic feature of hemichordates? What is the question? I am not asking for which is a characteristic feature, I am asking for which is not a characteristic feature. So, what is not a characteristic feature? Is it excretion, respiration through gills, cylindrical body, acoelomate? Excretion, of course, melanoglossus, they have excretory organ which is called as proboscis gland that helps in excretion. So, this is not the correct answer. Respiration through gills, of course, they respire through gills. So, that is also not the correct answer. Cylindrical body, yes, their body shape is cylindrical. So, that is also not the right answer. Acoelomate. Acoelomate is the option here because acoelomate is not a characteristic of melanoglossus because melanoglossus or hemichordates are coelomate in nature, meaning they have a body cavity, or instead they can ask instead of acoelomate here, no body cavity. That answer is also correct. So, they can change the option to this way. So, D is the right option here. So, this was about the session wherein we learnt about the characteristics of hemichordates, some of the examples, and also learnt what type of MCQs can be framed under this particular topic for exam point of view. So, this was about the session. So, I hope you understood the session. We shall meet again in the coming session taking a new topic and learning some of the MCQs under it. Thank you.